So I thought I'd do a little bit of an update to where we're at with the training. So as those of you who follow the channel know, back in the 14th of June, I was at Cairns Ironman, which was my A race for last season, and managed to get a grade 2 calf tear in the T1 transition. So literally as I was running my bike out to the mountain line, I had a very sharp pain in the calf, which was like someone was stabbing a knife in it. And turns out that that was actually a grade 2 calf tear. So I did sort of continue on the bike for the next few hours and ended up withdrawing at about the 60k, 60 odd k mark. As it became gradually worse and worse, so the recovery from that hasn't been too bad. So the first thing I should say I did was went saw a physio, literally on the Tuesday after flying back into Brisbane, for proper assessment, confirmed it was a grade 2 tear, and looked at how we were going to rehab that, which commenced with literally between a 4 and 6 week rest period. And it was meant to be a complete rest period, but I got about 9 days after the injury itself, or after the race in Cairns, and was going a bit stir crazy. So I started to just do some light rides for the next few weeks, and kept it until about 5 weeks after the injury before I started structured training again. And we're now 3 weeks, or coming up to the end of 3 weeks into that structured training. So I thought it was appropriate just to give a little bit of an update on how that's been going, how the calf's been feeling, and looking into the new season, which kicks off on the 27th of September with the Moreton Bay Tri. And that, for me, that'll be a sprint distance triathlon. I won't push out to the classic distance in that one. I'll just stick to that 750 metre swim, 20k bike and 5k run, and just build into the season. And my plan this year is literally just to race mostly the shorter races through the season, and maybe pick a half Ironman type or a long course distance. And I haven't really decided what that will be yet, whether it will be Gundy in February or something after that. We'll have a look, assess depending on how the first few races go. So the last few weeks, the 3 weeks into structured training, hasn't been too bad. It's just been a case of taking it easier and getting myself back in again. And really, it's been surprising about how much fitness you do lose in such a short space of time. And once again, that could be an age thing. You know, I'm very close to, next month I turn 58. So one of the things that I have noticed, and excuse me for that, is that recovery is taking a hell of a lot longer. And the performances that you had, even in your 40s, aren't really there anymore. So the numbers you were hitting in your 45, 46, 47s. And I did Australian Ironman in 2014. And I know the numbers I had that. And I did a 10-hour 29 at that. And I felt like I had a lot more potential there. But now in turning or pushing that sort of 58 hanging into 60, I don't think I'm going to see those numbers again. And so it's just a matter of being a little bit smarter with how we train and how we progress forward. So anyway, the 3 weeks have been really good. They've been a bit of a build again. So I literally kicked off the 3 weeks with week one, 3 swims, 3 bikes, and 3 runs. So I was swimming on the Monday, the Wednesday, and the Friday for the first few weeks. And what I was doing there, I kicked week one off with just 1500 metres. So the Monday and the Wednesday were both an interval type set. So I was doing a 500 metre warm up, actually a 400 metre warm up, correction on that one. 10 by 50s, and then a few 100s, all with really good rest and really just concentrating on form. And when I got to those 100s, I was throwing pull buoy and paddling just to start working on that upper arm strength. And at the end of that, just a 100 or 200 metre warm down, depending on where I was at with the distance. And that would give me the 1500s. So the third swim of the first week was an endurance swim. So it's literally just jumping in the pool. I did use a pull buoy, but it's just pure freestyle, no paddles, and just a 1500 metre continuous swim. So heading into 2 weeks, it was the same sort of, week two, it was the same structure with the swim. And all we did there was we increased the distance out to 2,000 metres, but we still swam on the Monday, the Wednesday, and the Friday. And week three, I threw in the Monday as a recovery. And what I've done this week so far, I've swum on the Wednesday, I'm swimming again today, which is the Friday, and I'll swim on the Sunday, which will be an endurance swim. But what I've done there now, I've capped my interval swim. So the Wednesday and the Friday are both my interval swims at the 2,000 metres. So that structure is giving me literally a 500 metre warm up, 10 by 50 metres, and I'm giving myself 30 seconds rest at each. So I'm making sure I've got heaps of rest so I can concentrate on form. And then I'm throwing in 8 by 100s in that with pull buoy and paddles, working on that form, concentrating on the feel of the water, not pushing overly hard and giving myself once again 30 seconds rest and repeating that, and then a 200-meter warm down and out. So the third swim of that week 3 will be a 2,500-meter, just an endurance swim, and I'll do that on Sunday morning, so just nice and easy then. Moving on to the bike over those 3 weeks, the first week 1 and week 2, I did week 1 I did 4 rides. So how that worked out was on the Monday I just did a very light roll, because I knew on the Tuesday I was going to have my first run, which was going to be off the bike. So Monday afternoon I just did 1 hour easy on the indoor trainer, and then Tuesday morning on the bike I did a little bit of a harder set. So what I did there was use the indoor trainer again and did some intervals, keeping it around that upper zone 2, lower zone 3 marks, and then a 1K run off the bike. And that's actually my first run off the bike, so that was important to do that as well. And I wanted to do that after a ride, with knowing that the ride would be a good warm-up. So once again, we're talking week 1 on the Tuesday, and that run was just 1 kilometre, and it was very much on feel, not looking at any data, anything like that, just running on how I felt. So my bike structure has been very much mostly 3 rides a week. The first week I did put 4 rides in. So how I'm working that structure is on the Tuesday, I'm doing an interval set on the bikes indoors with a 1K run, or building from a 1K run, and it's normally just off the bike and at feel. On the Thursday, I tend to do, it's still a zone 2, but it's more a 1 hour to a 90-minute recovery ride, depending on how I've pulled up. And then on the Saturday, I'm doing my long ride, so my endurance ride, which is very much a zone 2, a lower zone 2 ride. And how that's working over the 3-week base, that kicks off with literally a 2 hour, a 2 hour 15, and then a 2 hour 30 in the 3rd week. So I'm building that endurance again, where the other rides, because they're sort of interval and recovery rides, they're sort of sticking at that 1 hour to 90-minute mark as well. Moving into the run now, this is where I've had to be a little bit careful with the calf recovery. The first week especially, I was a little bit unsure of how it was going to feel, and you tend to be almost running on eggshells the whole time, waiting for something to go wrong. But so far, fingers crossed and touch wood and all that, it's been quite good. So the first week, I did a run off the bike on the Tuesday. The Wednesday, I did a 30-minute run. The Friday, same thing, a 30-minute run. And then on the Sunday, a 30-minute run. So there was nothing special there. They were just 30-minute zone 2 runs, not pushing it, just getting those legs working again. Week 2, when we look at that in the runs, all I did was really increase the distance and the time. Not so much distance, but the time out, because I'm working on heart rate and time more than distance. So the Tuesday run off the bike, it just increased out to 2K. So I did do it literally on distance rather than time, but it was also not done on heart rate or anything like that. It was just done on feel, off the bike on the Tuesday after that bike interval set, which was indoors. The Wednesday, the run came out to 45 minutes. The Friday in the week 2 was the 45 minutes again. And then the Sunday, we just held that 45 minutes again. So just building slowly the volume and everything like that. So heading into week 3, where we're at now. So off the bike on the Tuesday, same sort of thing, just out for that 2K on the Tuesday. Now the Wednesday, I'm starting to extend the distance a bit. I went out on the Wednesday to 60 minutes, and once again keeping it at the zone 2. So today being the Friday, what I'm going to do is introduce the first intervals, and as I said, we're 3 weeks in, and these are going to be very short intervals. So there's going to be a good warm up of 10 to 15 minutes with a few strides thrown in there. And then my plan today is just to do 6 by 2 minutes on feel once again, but just concentrating on cadence and tempo. Not pushing overly hard, because we're just testing the calf here. Any point I feel like I'm getting a little bit tight in it, we call it and we just come back down and do a good warm down. But hopefully we can get through 6 by 2 minutes with a 90-second walk recovery between each. Now we've already done our long run on the Wednesday, so this will be the first time we're introducing any sort of run intervals. The Sunday then, Sunday afternoon, all we'll do is a 30-minute recovery run. And then we will take Monday as a complete recovery day heading into our week 4. Now in our cycle, that's going to be reducing our volume. And at the moment, there's not a lot of volume there, but it will still be reducing our volume, probably 25%, and allowing our body that adaptation heading into the season. So first race, I said, is the 27th of September, so we're still a little bit away from that. We've still got a little bit of time. Swim is going fantastic. Bike stayed very strong. I haven't lost a lot there compared to where I was at the end of last season. run is a bit of an unknown at the moment, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, it's a bit of a ramble video, so if you've made it this far in the video, thanks so much for watching. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you again. If you haven't, you know the drill. And until next time, guys, stay safe out there.